So, good morning and welcome to this week's Breakfast with Mike. And this week we're talking about the pre-listing package. And just like the word says, it's a pre-listing package. It's not the package you bring with you when you go on the listing. It is sent to the seller in advance to you going on the appointment. Now, you might say to yourself, well, why bother? And the reason is simple, okay? I went on a lot of listing appointments, and most sellers, when you get on a listing appointment, they want you to get to the point. And unfortunately, most listing presentations that are taught out there don't get to the point. They sell the company, they sell all the blah, blah, blah. We do this, we do that, we do this, we do that. They don't get to the point. There's only one thing the seller cares about when you get there. And I know you're going to think it's money, but it's not money. Okay? If they need to sell, the one thing that they care about is, can you get this sold? That's it. Money is a distant second. Now, when they don't need to sell, when they want to sell, but they don't need to sell, then money's first. And you being able to get the job done is the distant second. So how do we determine which we're dealing with? Well, that's all the questions that we ask when we've got them on the phone. Why are you moving? When do you need to be there by? What happens if it doesn't sell? It's the biggest question that most realtors are afraid to ask. What happens if it doesn't sell? And even the ones that do ask, they get silly answers. Well, we'll just stay here. Well, then what'd you call me for? I mean, why did you call me if you're just going to stay? Well, if I get my price, your price has nothing to do with this. Yeah, I'm going to share with you the time frame needed to get to your price. I don't want to get into comps. Many of you have been around me long enough, you know, I just don't, I've showed in all the years I did this, I actually showed the comps twice. That's it. People go, well, how's that possible? Well, it's simple. You know, they say that this is what they want for the house. I say, okay, this is how long it's going to take. They say, no, I need it sooner. Well, then you need to come down on the price. And if they don't want to do that, I leave. But most agents won't do that. They won't walk away. And as long as you won't walk away, you'll never get all that you should get. I got what I needed to. I got the price I needed to. I got the commission I needed to. I got the terms I needed to. Why? Because I was willing to walk away. Well, I can't do that. I don't have anybody else. Well, there's the problem. If you have enough lined up, you can walk away. And you should walk away. I've had students numerous times call me up after they walked away, telling me how good they felt. I've had students tell me they tried to walk away and the seller called them back. So wait a minute. All right, we'll do it your way. If they call you and you have a good reputation out there, they will listen. If you don't have much of a reputation, you better be able to demonstrate how your system works. We've gone over that before. Most agents, what do? Put it in MLS, put up a sign, put up a lockbox, put it on their 7,000 different websites, hire a drone to take pictures, all this other stuff, which is great. And it works half the time, maybe a little more than half the time in today's market. But the bottom line is, it doesn't work 89% of the time, and my system does. It's had an 89% success rate. Why would you settle for less? I don't know. But you do. And it's usually because you don't have another one ready to be lined up. I talked to somebody this morning, or not this morning, yesterday, told me about 2 listing appointments they set up. I said, great. What are you going to do next? And they said, what do you think? I said, set up another one in case one of them cancels. That's what we need to be looking at. Moving on every single time. Go to the next one. If we've got them lined up, then we get to pick and choose who we want to invest time in. You can't sell them all. Stop trying. So if I ask the right questions and I get to where I want, this is somebody I want to invest my time in, then I'm going to say to them, okay, great. So we're going to meet on Tuesday at 7 o'clock, right? Yep. Okay. We're going to meet at Wednesday at 9:30 in the morning, right? Yep. Okay. Listen, before we do this, could I ask you a couple of other quick questions? What's that? I just want to make sure I have everything right so I can do my research. And then I'm going to confirm what I already know about the house. And I'm going to make sure I get them to tell me what they think it's worth. And by the way, amazingly enough, they'll say, oh, you're the professional, you tell me. And your response needs to be, yeah, that's true, and I will. But I just want to have an idea of what you think. Have there been other homes in the area that you know have already gone under agreement? What did they go under agreement for? That gives them a chance to tell you that they have, they have the heavy duty nails and those kinds of things. Theirs is always going to be worth a little bit more. And then the last thing I'm going to say is, listen, I'd like to send some information over for you so you get a chance to see what my company's like, what I'm like before I get there. I can have it delivered this afternoon. Is anybody going to be there? Now, by the way, if they say no, then I can deliver it. I don't want to go in the house. I just want to deliver it. So if they say nobody's going to be there, fine, I'll deliver it. But if they say somebody's going to be home, then I need to have it delivered by someone else. Now, if you're in an office with other agents, you can help each other out. You can say, hey, Lindsay, listen, can you drop this off and I'll do one for you? And you can do that. You could hire somebody. That's what I did. I hired somebody. I hired a high school student that had a car and they dropped off my pre-listing packages. They were usually going to be dropped off in the afternoon anyway. Worked out great. One of the best ways I saw to get it delivered was a guy that I knew from Washington. He had a florist deliver his. He called a number of florists and he asked this question. He said, listen, if I have flowers delivered to a house, can you also deliver a package that I will drop off for you? And he said, I had to go through a number of people before somebody said yes, but somebody finally said yes. So he had his pre-listing packages all set up, which, by the way, tells you there's no information about comps in the pre-listing package, which we'll get to in a second. But it was all about him and his company. See, he had sent over to me his listing presentation. He had 42 slides in his listing presentation. I'll never forget it. He had 42 slides in his listing presentation. By the time I was done, he had 5. The other 37 belonged in his pre-listing package. It was all about the company and all about how great he was and all about all the different marketing things he was going to do. The one thing about marketing is if you say you're going to do it, it better get results, because if it doesn't, the seller blames you. And you could sit back and say, well, no, it's only my job to do the marketing. Nope. They have an expectation that when you say this is where I market, that means it's going to be successful. That's why I didn't use it. Did I not market? No, that's not true. Of course I did. But I never told them where. I never put that pressure on the success of a marketing piece. So have it delivered any way you want, but get it done. And most of you, if you sent me a copy of your current listing presentation, I could almost guarantee you at least half of what's in there doesn't belong in the listing presentation. It belongs in the pre-list. Those of you that know me know that my listing presentation was less than 15 minutes long. Most trainers will tell you you should be setting up an hour and a half to 2 hours for a listing presentation. Mine took 15 minutes. And then I would close by saying, so if we could agree on a price, would you want me to handle it? Well, yeah, okay. Remember that number you told me? Yeah, let's go for it. And we would. And unless the number was way off, and if it was way off, okay, let's talk about getting it priced right. Listen, if that's what you want for the house, not a problem. Probably going to take me about a year to get it done. A year? I don't have that much time. Well, then maybe we should consider a little bit lower price and go in that direction. If they need to sell, they will listen to you. So any of you that are sitting there that are saying, well, I tried that, it didn't work, odds are they didn't need to sell. They wanted to sell, but they didn't need to sell. And there's a big difference. That's why we have to get that information on the phone. So by now you've got a little bit of an idea of what probably should be in the pre-list, but let me go over it. Your resume should be in there. Your company resume should be in there. Any brochures that you've used for marketing, whether you're going to use them or not, they go in the pre-list. What is the goal of the pre-list? It's to sell you before you get there. So everything that makes you look good, everything that makes your company look good goes in the pre-list. People used to say to me, do you include the paperwork? And my answer was yes. I included the listing paperwork. What I did was I had a separate folder, and all the listing paperwork went in that folder, and it was in big letters, listing paperwork. Now, when you show up and they've already started to fill out the paperwork, you're going to have to be good to screw this up. Because if they've already started the paperwork, they are already buying into what's in the pre-list. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not. I hope it does. So everything and anything that makes you look good. These days, by the way, you could actually have a pre-list delivered by email. A lot of the stuff that you could put in the pre-list could be emailed. I get asked all the time, did people look at it? The answer was most of them did not, which told me all I needed to know about the listing presentation. If you've ever gone on a listing presentation and you looked at one or the other, let's say there's 2 or 3 people that are sellers and they look bored listening to what you were saying, I got news for you. That's on you. You caused them to look bored because you're telling them stuff they don't want to hear. How do you get my home sold? That's what they want to hear. What are you going to do? And I can tell you this, and there's all kinds of studies on this, okay? 97% of the marketing that is done on homes does not sell the house. 97%. Years ago, the difference was the broker paid for all the advertising and they got a 3% conversion rate. 97% didn't work. These days, the agent pays for it. It's still 97% failure. Why do we do it? Oh, the seller wants us to do it. Show the seller what you do that'll get it sold, that sets you apart from everybody else, and they won't ask you about marketing because they don't care. They care that you get it sold. Any company brochures that you have, anything, people used to say, well, what about stuff like video or yeah, anything. If there are pictures of you doing something in the community, making you look good, put it in your pre-list. Make copies of it. Everything that makes you look good goes in the pre-list. And then the disappointing part for you will be when you realize they're not looking at it anyway. Because in most cases, they don't. And you'll feel bad because you'll say, gee, I spent all this time putting this thing together. They didn't even look at it. Yeah, I know. Because they don't care. We do, but they don't. Let's see. I got to look around here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, boy. I got 4 or 5 different companies here, so I'm going to get in trouble. That's okay. I don't mind. I don't care what the sign on your door says. I know your company has told you that they've spent all this money and this is what it's worth and this is why and these colors work and that's not. The bad news is the consumer doesn't care. They really don't. When you get in on a listing appointment, they care about what you're going to do. If you're working for a franchise and that name gets you in the door, great. If you're working for an independent and your name gets you in the door, great. But the bottom line is once you get in the door, then you've got to be you, because that's who they're going to buy, you. And we've covered the listing presentation. I'm not going to cover it here. The pre-list is, if it does nothing but make sure that they don't cancel the appointment on you, then it's successful. How many times have you set up an appointment and then they cancel and you see somebody else's name out there? What I found is if I sent them a pre-listing package, they almost felt obligated to at least meet with me. And if they meet with me, odds are I'm going to walk out with it. So think about the pre-list just for what it sounds like. It gets sent in advance and it sells you it sells you to the seller. That's the goal. If it confirms the appointment, great. If it gets you in more doors, great. But stop thinking all this me stuff goes into your presentation. It doesn't. It goes into your pre-list. Your presentation is designed to do one thing and one thing only: solve their problem. They've got a problem. They've got a house they need to move. You're the solution. That's what the presentation does. The pre-list sells you before they meet with you. They're already predisposed to do business with you when you get there. You don't have to waste a lot of time telling them things they already know you're going to do. You think most sellers know you're going to put it in MLS? Yeah. You think most sellers know you're going to advertise it? Yeah. You think most sellers expect an open house? Yeah. Does that mean they're going to get it? No. Of course, in this market, they probably will. And that's okay. When I get there, I will show them what sets me apart. If you're not using that to its advantage, shame on you, because it works. And I get calls regularly from students that go, I thought I'd give it a try this time, and look what happened. Yeah, no kidding. I knew of that. I love it when people call me up and say, you're not going to believe this, because chances are I'm about to believe it. They're about to tell me something I've been trying to get them to do for a while. Pre-list, put one together. Start getting it delivered before you go, and you will start listing more properties in one stop. Because that's the other thing this does. Instead of you going and trying to gather information and then coming back to the office and doing all this work, you'll get it on one stop, one shot. I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to turn off the record and let these guys throw some questions at me. Wish you were here. Maybe next time. Bye for now.